How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another Forever Arsenal podcast. Hope you're all good and well. It's all smiles over here. We are a bit tired, a bit
This time,
hungover.
Lee was laughing through the intro. This time, I did nothing. I say it quietly, straight-faced. He's laughing away. No, there's nothing to laugh about. Anyway.
Oh, I'm just happy. I'm just happy. I'm just happy.
Were you so happy about? Is it the Arsenal result or the fact you're on holiday, Lee?
Bit of both Turkish, right? You know what I mean? So listen, I'm buzzing because do you know what? We was talking about statements last week and all that. That was a statement yesterday. Comfortable, 3-0 win, clean sheet. Everything you wanted about a away performance yesterday was there. And I'm going to say it now. The first goal just blew me away. Jesus, what he done there. We wouldn't have scored that goal last year. We would have been struggling. You know, there's a difference with this Arsenal team. You know, there's a confidence, a little bit of, can I say it, nice arrogance. You know, like we're all here like last week. We're all saying that we're going to win. Even Jordan, you know what I mean? Despite all of his negative criticism and critics and comments that he's getting, he is being positive as well, like, you know. So it just shows you, and I don't mean it in a nasty way of arrogance. I did think that we'd go there and win yesterday. I said 2-0, but I'll be honest, I was a little bit worried about saying 3 because I didn't want to be too cocky or 4. Do you know what I mean? Like, but realistically, this team is good. I think it was such a good statement yesterday. 2 away clean sheets as well, guys. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm watching other games. I'm watching other teams yesterday on, you know, finding it very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And we breezed past a side that, you know, is going to probably be down at the bottom at the end of the season, but we're going to be really up for it at the beginning of that game. And we just went there, and that was the most comfortablest I've gone to Bournemouth. Well, I didn't actually go, but for the first time, that's the most comfortablest Arsenal have gone to Bournemouth and been. We've been difficult times and all that. It was a breeze, boys. Honestly, it was a nice, comfortable win. Can't argue that, and brilliant.
The first time we've won the first 3 Premier League games since I thought it was the Invincible season, but I think I've been corrected and it's the 04-05 season.
Did you say it? Did you say it?
I said it before the game as well. I said, listen, we better win the first 5, but I didn't know it was that long, Lee. I didn't know it's been that long since we started the season with 3 wins.
We've never been ready, boys. For how many years is it since we've not been ready? This season, you can tell that we're ready. I'm watching other teams, other clubs that are not ready, and I'm thinking, God, that was us.
Yeah, looking at Man United over there, and it's eerily similar to some of the mess we've been in over the years. Jordan, you're nodding. 3-0 win, first time in a long time we've won the first 3 games of the season, convincing, all round good performance. What do you make of it all?
Oh, it's brilliant, man. It's amazing. I was confident we would score some goals yesterday. I predicted 4-2. I just had a confidence that we would get quite a few goals. The form that Jesus is in, Odegaard, Saka, and Martinelli. I was confident we would do that, but we went 2-0 up, and it was. I think I put it in a group as well, but I definitely put it in another group. After about 40 minutes, I said we've got to dead this game by halftime. Just kill the game by halftime. What I meant was get the third. 3-0 halftime is game over. It's game. And a friend of mine in another group that I put it in it responded to me and said, this game's over. Trust me, 2-0. This game's over. I don't think any Premier League game 2-0's over, personally. It just takes one mistake, one error, one bit of magic, and it's 2-1, then it's game on. And as Arsenal fans, we know we can boss a game at 2-0 and still not win the game. So I don't think any game at 2-0 is over, even if you're in control. But he was right. Bournemouth had nothing. I mean, had nothing because we allowed them to have nothing. We allowed them we didn't allow them to have a sniff. And I think it goes back to the words. Well, Lee didn't mention it, but he was kind of talking around it. The one word I would say is preparation. Not only were we prepared for the season, we were prepared for that match. It looked like Arteta had prepared the team properly for that game. Start well. The pressing and the work rate. I was blabbering on our pre-season pod. I talked about the 5-point plan this season. One of my 5 points was hard work. I said I want every single game, no team to. If they beat us, they beat us. but no team can outwork Arsenal this season. And that first 15, 20 minutes, we were like a team possessed. We were like a team possessed. We were hunting in packs. We were pressing. We were getting back. We were winning balls back. Bournemouth just didn't look. They looked like they knew. Oh man, it's long for man today. It's long for man. This is going to be too much for us today. And I want to talk about Gabriel Jesus and Saliba shortly. But I'll let James kind of have his say generally. But I just think it was a game that made me look at my team and think to myself, we are prepared. We are ready for the season. We are ready for this game. And I want more of that. I thought it was a brilliant game. I love the clean sheet. Ramsdale again, I'll mention him later on, but I'm still watching him because he's probably the only person that's slightly concerning me. And I thought Zinni had a really good game as well.
Get the end there. Hey, James, what are you telling me, man? General thoughts around it before we delve into the individuals and whatnot?
Oh, yeah, I can't add a lot. Arsenal were class from start to finish. We were saying in the watch along, weren't we, Turkish, that in every single game, the opposition's going to have their moment here and there. And when you're on a watch along, you're feeling every moment, you're commenting on every moment. But on reflection, I'm actually even still now, having been on the watch along, struggling to really remember what Bournemouth did, bar a few set pieces, because Arsenal were unbelievably comfortable. I watched Match of the Day and I kind of forgot about some of the other chances we'd had, or at least some of the openings we'd created. Arsenal were excellent. Arsenal were really, really having fun. Really having fun. And, I'm so glad you guys have touched on the preparation thing because what Arteta's doing, the inverted fullbacks, the combinations, all that's complex stuff. That's a really, really high level of football that we're seeing. But at the same time, football could be really simple sometimes. Get your players in early, give them a proper pre-season, see what happens. And it's been so long since Arsenal have even given themselves the chance of a good start. Forget actually, sometimes fixtures like last season, we could have been ready and we might still only get a draw at Brentford, be competitive with Chelsea and get slapped up at City. That can still happen. You might still on a great, with good preparation, come out with 2 points out of 9. But the point is, we didn't even give ourselves a chance. And sometimes you can't help it. Sometimes there's business you just can't do. Sometimes you've got to be patient. But it's always felt like Arsenal have gone in severely unprepared rather than not as prepared as we'd like. This season, we've gone in. We've got a lot of the core business done that we wanted to do. The team's gone up with 3. I mean, it's really 4 additions because of Saliba. And you can just see the level of the team's gone up. And you saw Arteta planning for this very moment, this very run from that Everton game in Baltimore. You saw that team go out. I think Cedric at right back, otherwise the same team. And then you see him go into the Orlando game. All right, second half, we bring on the big guns. They turn it around. Then Chelsea, then Sevilla. He had a plan. The Sevilla game, we didn't sub all 11 players and bring them. Actually, not even the Chelsea game. He didn't sub them all off. He brought in a couple sort of around the hour mark. And then he brought a couple around the 70, 75-minute mark. Again, because he's trying to get this core group ready for 90 minutes of Premier League football. And he's mastered it. He mastered pre-season. And the rewards are showing now. So major credit to him and Edu for the way they've navigated everything since the end of last season. That was very disappointing to get us into a position where we don't look like a team. It is so early on. These performances are not indicative of a team that would pip Tottenham to top 4 now. It's far beyond that now. Like, it's far better than those levels. The question is, can we maintain it over 38 games? Hopefully we can.
Who knew that, being well prepared and proactive in the transfer window would bring smiles to the fans' faces, would bring a team that's, got chemistry and reads each other well. Listen, that's all I've been asking for a long time. And, it's been a great start to the season and the first one for a long time. The numbers 2014. I couldn't believe when I read that. I know I've already mentioned it, but the first 3 league games, failing to win for the first... winning the first 3 for the first time in nearly 20 years. It's crazy to me. But Lee made a point. The first goal doesn't happen without Jesus. The way he brings the ball down and, the way he takes on the players. Lee, might as well go back to you on it. Gabriel Jesus, what did you make of his all-round performance?
I just thought he was just different class. I just thought he was absolutely brilliant. It's just an absolute pleasure to watch him. what he's done for me is give me confidence in my football team. I know it sounds silly, but that's what one player's done. You know, I just feel that we're going to get goals. We're going to score goals, and even if he doesn't score, I'm still happy. That was the disappointment for me yesterday, that he didn't score, because I felt he deserved to score. You know, or Martinelli. But you know, what was a great thing there. I just want to bring up what James said there. You know, about last season. I also think that maybe losing last season as we did, has given us some hunger. You know, I watched the Spurs game yesterday. No different Spurs from last season. They brought in 3 or 4 players. They're no different. It was the same sort of style of football, same patterns and everything like that. But this game, what I see with Arsenal, there's a complete difference. There's a hunger. And I think he actually said it on his documentary. You know, when you lose sometimes, you realise the pain from it and use it as an inspiration. And I think that they have, and I thought that was great. But Jesus has just made such a difference to the football team. Look at the levels. You know, I'm going to be really honest. I thought Martinelli should have scored before Odegaard did yesterday. It would have been a fantastic goal, but Odegaard there. And look at the ruthlessness for the second goal as well. I honestly think the standard of finishing has gone up a level, because you know, these guys, he's in there now. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, oh, look how he finishes. I better finish like that as well. Last season, that would have gone over the bar, or you know what I mean. But there's a ruthlessness about Arsenal, and I feel it's Jesus that's bringing it on. I really do. I'm going to be you know, when you can get it so wrong with being a football fan, you know what I mean. I wasn't that excited about seeing him when he signed. My God, I'm excited now. I can't wait to see him. Can't wait till next week to watch him again. You know, he's just an exciting player, but it's just not his goals, is it, boys? He's not
No.
You know, when you talk about Aubameyang, who was fantastic goal scorer, but that's all he brought to the party. You know, Jesus brings the tequila, he brings the crisps, he brings everything to the party, like, you know, so fantastic.
He brings, yeah. Can I add to something you were just saying there, Lee, about the finishing aspect? I honestly think the reason the finishing looks better and they're looking more clinical in front of goal is because they know they're going to create chances. You don't have this overwhelming pressure. This is my one of 3 chances in a game I'm going to get, not as an individual, as a team. You know, last season it felt Arsenal would play really well up to the final third, and then there'd be maybe 2 or 3 clear-cut chances a game. Arsenal have been getting 5, I think, really, in the last in all of the 3 games. You know, they Odegaard put that away like he knew he'd probably get another one later. So I'm just going to thump this one. You know, I honestly think that will play a part of it, because I always felt there was this pressure in front of goal for these players. You know, we say, Lacazette's not scoring, and that's true. You know, Lacazette had his flaws, but also he wasn't missing an array of chances every game. It was a weird one, you know. And see you later, Lee. And I think that is a big part. You know, there's that pressure, there's that weight gone, because you know it's not your only moment in a game.
I think to go back to that first goal that Odegaard scored, Gabriel Jesus is, let's not downplay or not big up how great a run and the way he's taken that ball down. And by the way, he's done that 2 or 3 times this season now. The ball's like high in the air, and he just plucked it out of the air a la Messi. And I'm going to make this comparison, I'm sure, often throughout the season. I've probably made it already. But the way he brought it down, spun his man, ran at the defence, beat 2 players, and I think he got a shot off that was saved, and then Odegaard, or he laid it off, someone got a shot off.
He rolled it into Martinelli, who then had the shot, yeah.
Right. That was very, very Luis Suarez, or even Alexis Sanchez. That was, you know, Lee was talking just then about he wasn't that excited about the Jesus signing. I wasn't blown away by the Sanchez signing. I was a bit like, oh, okay, he's a good player. He's done okay at Barca. Okay, we've got him, brilliant. But I wasn't like, oh my God. But
he's no Edison, is he?
Oh, jeez. Is this gonna be a thing now, James?
I was actually waiting for it.
Is this gonna be a thing?
15 minutes, we got it in. Because
I saw you guys getting onto me on the stream yesterday as well. See you guys. It was Robbie. Don't worry, I'm gonna phone Rob. Don't worry about that. I never said Edison. Anyway, I'm not gonna. Anyway.
Yeah.
But it was very quickly. I realized, oh, this guy's really good. The Sanchez guy. We've got a player there. And I think Jesus is having a similar effect. The way he runs at teams, the way he beats players, his footwork. And what's happening, if you notice, I mean, you kind of touched on it a little bit on the last podcast, it's making Saka look poor. But Saka's not playing poor. All that's happening is that Jesus is taking some of the attention and some of the pressure off of Saka, off of Martinelli, and saying, all right, I've been brought in as the main man, so I'm going to be the main man. Saka will have some games where he's man of the match. I have no doubt about that. But at the moment, he's not having the massive impact all the time, every game. Why? He doesn't have to, because Jesus is doing it, is taking that mantle on now. So I'm really, really pleased we've got Jesus. I thought he was phenomenal in the match. I was battling between him and Saliba for man of the match. I probably would still give it to Jesus, because when you look at what Saliba had to deal with, it wasn't a lot. It wasn't a lot. And I think Jesus was a catalyst to the two goals. But Saliba was phenomenal in what he had to do. Oh man, I'm really excited by him. I'm really excited by Saliba. The goal was just stupid. The goal was phenomenal. But that's what I'm liking. We're having to wonder who the man of the match is now. There's not just one standout player. There's 3 or 4 options now. And it's early. I'm not getting carried away. I'm still not convinced we'll get top 4. Not because I'm just a begrudging, miserable old Arsenal fan. My big thing is, when things are going wrong, do we have the personnel to rein it back in? When we go 2-0 down after 11 minutes, do we have the personnel to look around and say, okay, just calm down, we can still win this match? I'm still not convinced we've got that, but it's a brilliant start. Jesus was phenomenal. I think with him, we've got a big problem. And finally, if we can just see out these 5 games, I think we all said we need to and should be winning, I think that will put us in a position where teams will look at us and be like, whoa, that fear factor will grow. And that will help us, I think, in the bigger games. Not only are we playing well, but there's a smell of this team is serious.
Yeah, I can only echo how, Jesus is a surprise package. We all knew he had quality, but the way he's settled into his role, and by role, I don't mean just with the personnel and players around him, but his role as a leader, his role as one of the main man now, especially when you look at the forward line. I didn't expect it. And we're getting a level of quality from him week in, week out that's refreshing to see.
Can I just, sorry, Circus, very quickly add as well, just my final point on Jesus. I say I and many people lauded Lacazette last year. I say lauded, but I praised him because in a time when he wasn't scoring many goals, my defense of him was that I thought his hold-up play, his link-up play was really, really good. Jesus is doing that times 10. Jesus has made me realise it's not an either-or. You can have really good hold-up play and then get in the box. There was a bit in the documentary where one of the coaches talks to Lacazette about his movement. He says, once you've laid it off, then get into the box. And that's what Jesus does. He he's not content with holding the ball up, bringing Odegaard into play and setting attacks off. Watch him. He then goes into the box, and he doesn't just run into the box. He times his runs into the box. And so my defending of Lacazette for his hold-up play and his teamwork, it's kind of in the bin now, because we've now got a guy that not only does that bit better, but scores goals as well.
Of course. I mean, that's why I was at times it was jarring hearing some of the praise that we were giving Lacazette, because,
and I can believe that now. I can hear that.
It was because it was a praise for the basics, let's say. It was praise for very little, in a sense that, yes, it was giving us more than Oba, but in reality, we can get a player that can give us so much more. And it's nice that we're setting new levels and standards with our acquisitions, with Zinchenko, with Jesus, even with a William Saliba now. A lot of us were happy with Gabriel and Ben White over the last year, but Saliba comes in and then sets the bar even higher. James, was you about to say something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think it's because Arsenal for so long have even lacked the basics, and that goes back to the point about being prepared for a season and having players that really want to work hard. And the one thing I'll give Arteta from day one, and this hasn't changed from when he arrived from the first game at Bournemouth in December 2019 to now, is that there's a work ethic. There's a win, lose or draw. They are committed to the cause, and there was something we saw in the last 2 episodes of All or Nothing, where he said to the boys after 3 defeats, he said, "I'm not changing. you have to be better. I'm not changing what I want to do. And I think he's earned the right now to be stubborn in that way and say, listen, he's always going to want to adapt. He's always going to tweak things. But to say, we've all seen that Arteta's way can work. We can go and play this brilliant football. Now, work in terms of win league titles and beat the big six, we're still to see. But it's got something that everyone's enjoying and everyone's believing in. So I've gone off on a tangent. I don't really know what the rest of my point was going to be. But yeah, anyway, they're playing for him and the work is there. And the basics weren't there for so long, which is why we always appreciated Lacazette, who was linking up play, combining with midfield, working really hard every game because the work ethic was always there. And that does go some way with me. The other thing I really wanted to add was on Ben White and his performance. I thought he was great, not just as a fill-in right back who did a job. He looked a really good fullback. Yes, the overlapping, he did it a couple times. I just thought he looked really comfortable in that role.
He put some good balls into the box. He put some decent crosses,
really,
2 or 3 decent crosses into the box.
Yeah, and Xhaka's goal against Leicester came from his cross to the back post last week. A couple yesterday, but also that slide one into Jesus before Odegaard scores. And here's me wondering where Tomiyasu, not fits in. Let's not do all that again. Listen, we know he'd come in to be a right back, but good problems, really good problems. Zinchenko as well. I know you gave him credit, Jordan, and he just thought, when I looked at that performance yesterday and the sheer control we had in midfield, that's where I struggled to see how Tierney gets his place back. But if we're at the Etihad yesterday, I don't think Zinchenko has that impact, and so you need a Tierney. So that's again great options.
Zinchenko was brilliant yesterday. He was really, really good. And I really see fully now what you were talking about in terms of what he contributes to midfield from left back. He was very good. We're praising Saliba, Zinchenko, Jesus, all these players. I think we have to remember, though, it's Bournemouth. Bournemouth are not very good. So I don't want to be the wet cloth.
Yeah.
But you beat what's in front of you, all that sort of
Feel
stuff.
free to be. Feel free to be.
You know what it is? Jordan? I listen, I don't know. Maybe you guys are different. I rarely see Man City slap up a team and go, like last week, and go, oh, it's Bournemouth though. I just go, Man City slap them up. Fair play, they look good. You know what I mean? I don't know if we only do this for ourselves. Like the context is important because we don't want to overdo it. But I just think if you're a top team in the Premier League, whoever, you slap them up and that's it. And that's what Arsenal have done. And actually, it was building on Leicester, where I know it was 4-2, so it sounds like it was more punch for punch. But we slapped them up. I actually think the Leicester performance was slightly better just because of the level of opposition. And I think we could have had 7 or 8 in that game. Yesterday, I think we probably could have had 4 or 5. So, and Arsenal just turning up and doing the job. So you're right to mention the opposition. But it's been so long. Last year we might get 3 wins in a row against these. Okay, maybe not Palace, but we would get some 1 or 2 nils. We might hold out. Arsenal are showing an ability to control a game for 80 of the 90 minutes. That was just so refreshing.
We've mentioned a few names now, but we haven't mentioned the name of the guy who got 2 goals. In the first couple of games of the season, no one can doubt his work rate. But there was still some people, regardless of the wins, doubting his ability to, either lead side as a captain, his productivity, maybe as a creator.
I didn't get that.
2 goals early on.
Was he that bad in those first 2 games? I don't remember him being that bad in the first 2 games.
Nor do I. But you get fans sometimes that pick at the very smallest things.
What I see of him, guys, I didn't think his performances were any different to what the first 2, but the difference is he scored 2 goals, and all of a sudden it's fine lines, isn't it? Fine lines between success and failure. 2 good finishes, but I see the first thing I see about him is that he's prepared to run his socks off for the team. That's the first thing I see. I don't really want to say it, but we've seen creative players that we've accepted have been lazy and thought, oh, well, because they're great, we accept that they're not going to run. All of a sudden now we've got some guy that's got ability, but is prepared to run run himself through the ground
Exactly
every
right,
single
yeah.
game. And so I think it's a great thing to see, like, you know what I mean? Now, if you've got somebody with all the ability in the world prepared to do that, and you can go to Jesus as well, because he's prepared to run his socks off as well. You know, if you're a player that maybe is not so good, you think to yourself, well, if they're doing it, then I can do it. There's such a standard now of what's going on in the team. And I think he epitomises that. I think he sets the standard. And that's why he's a captain now. He's not going to be one of these vocal captains that's going to shout and scream and everything like that. But what he's going to do is going to put in the hard yards. And as a captain, you know, I think you can follow that. And it's a different way of being a captain. But I thought his performance yesterday was no different to the other two.
Lee, I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you made that final point there, because I'm not one of these people that loves the captains that bawl and shout and scream. I think it's a very English football thing. Your captain's got to beat his chest and scream and point and shout and be Roy Keane and be Terry Butcher. Those sort of captains never really resonate with me. I reference this guy often as for me, the archetype or perfect captain. It was David Silva. He didn't do it very often, but David Silva for me was the kind of captain I want in my football team. Why? Because he didn't shout and scream and he wasn't demonstrative, but he always wanted the ball and he led by how he played. And I think Odegaard is that kind of captain. I don't think you're going to see him screaming, shouting, calling people out. I think his captaincy will be led by, when we're 2-0 down, give me the ball. Give me the ball. And I'm going to try and take the pressure off you and you having a bad game and try and make something happen. That for me is leadership. That for me is what I want my captain to do. When things are going...
He done that at West Ham, Jordan.
He did.
He
did. The shouting, pointing, calling people out. Some people like that. There's time and place for it, maybe.
I think he has that in him as well, but I know
maybe
what you
he
mean.
does. Maybe he does.
Yeah.
But I think it's more his level of captaincy when he goes to the pitches. I'm going to always be brave. 3-0 up or 3-0 down. I'm going to lead this team by showing we're going to play football the way that we're supposed to play football. And that's what I think. That's what I love about him. And he's not the kind of pointer and shouter, but he's the sort of person that just give me the ball. And I'll take it in tight spaces. I'll take it in difficult situations. And I'll try and make something happen. It might not always come off, but give me the ball. And that's the sort of person that I want leading my football team.
Yeah, James, thoughts on Odegaard?
I love this. Yeah, I love this guy. I loved him from when he came in. And also that goal, that second one, that he absolutely rifled into the side netting, whatever it was.
Sweet strike.
Clean strike. You know, he's actually got that in him, which is I think why some of the criticism comes around him not taking as many shots and all that. He's actually got a rocket of a left foot sometimes, and we don't see it often because we consider him the cultured player, the one who wants to curl one in and side foot one in with elegance and all that. But I remember his first goal for Arsenal in the Europa League against, I want to say, Olympiacos, when he just smashed one into the roof of the net. And I don't know if he scored many like that, but he does have that. He can just let one rip, basically. Almost kind of Andre Arshavin style, not quite the same, but that kind of, when there's not a lot of backlift and they just smack it, So that's why I think we want to see a little bit more of that, because I think, players of a culture also tend to be very good finishers. Mesut Ozil was a superb finisher. We actually didn't see a lot of it. He wasn't always the one on the ends of the moves. That's why there's always, I hope that he'll have more goals. But I liked yesterday. There was something about that second. It was kind of like a fuck you to everyone who said I've not been played. The way he hit it.
Yeah,
I'm surprised they run off go.
I think didn't he get the assist for the disallowed goal as well? There was a lovely that was a lovely assist.
Yeah.
For that goal. He's really coming into the player that I thought
can we talk about the offside goal for a second? Because I sort of brushed it off because we were 3-0 up and I know what VAR and offside is like and all that. And actually, when you look at it, I think you can just slightly see it's offside. Like, you need the lines, but we were watching it and we felt, he's probably off here. But I was watching some other people discuss it. Even Arsenal fans were even non-Arsenal fans were outraged that the goal's disallowed. They made such a good point. When the image becomes pixelated and you're checking, it's like zooming in. It's like, where does the navy become green? Like, it's a good point. It's like at that point, listen, I know it's the rules and they're being consistent. I'm not actually having a go at the officials in this situation. But I do think there's got to be something like almost if you can't determine within 30 seconds if this goal's offside, then you allow it. You know, something like that. You know, if you're having to, you know, they're doing that whole like if you had an iPad, you're pulling it and like, what is it? Oh, he's off. Yeah, obviously. Like,
was anybody else convinced that the second goal might have been offside as well?
Looks offside.
I thought it was offside. The second goal.
Ask James. I knew it.
I thought Turkish credit with the whole time. He looked at it and went, "Oh, he's on. And I thought he was absolutely off, but they showed the lines. So
I think
I'm 50-50 on that one.
The line was a bit like that, but
give him the goal. Give him the goal. It's not what offside was for. Offside was not invented to be just that minute. It's about like quick stop goal letting. That's what it was all about.
No, but it's changed. I think. Sorry, I think we have to look at offside for what it's being judged now. I agree that's not why it was brought in initially, but according to the rule, what it is now, I think that second goal, the third one, the fourth one's definitely off. The second one, I think we may have got away with one there.
Well, look,
it's tight, but I think. I don't know about you. It is about scoring goals. I think they should those sort of things. When they start getting the rulers out and that goal, it's not clear and obvious. You know what I mean? So, and even if it happens against Arsenal, I wouldn't be beating myself up about it because that's what it's for. But
sorry, Lee. So,
no. What is it? You and James. So you
and Jordan, yeah.
only I interrupt Lee, James.
It's only me and Turkish have respect for each other. I can see
No, because I just want to. You said something, and I want to pounce on it before you just waffle on another 10, 15 minutes.
Okay. No, what are you laughing at? I thought it was my foul.
You said even if it's other teams. I'm sorry, you said that, and it happened on 2 other occasions yesterday. The Palace goal was disallowed, and there was another in one of the 3:00 games. I can't remember who it was. So there were 3 very, very similar ones. And I want to stress, I will over this season complain, aplenty on referees and their decisions and their incompetence and all that. This has nothing to do with the officials. They are applying the rules where they've got to, and then the technology's there. But I wonder whether this is one where we just need to have a look back at again. If you can't determine a decision in 30 seconds, especially an offside, you've got to be able to see and go, "Oh, he's offside. He's getting an advantage." Clearly,
yeah.
If you're like,
"Did he?
I really need to check if he get." Come off it. It's not.
And then you don't know if they're looking at the toe, the kneecap, the shoulder, the sleeve. You don't really know what they're zooming into.
They're looking at the side arse cheek. It's just like, come on, just like let it go. And also, they're not looking at just. You're right. They're looking at different parts of the body. So actually, a player's feet, which is where they're springboarding off, can be onside, but the rest of their body might not be. Come on. It's about the run. It's about so now, if you're taller or you have a lower center of gravity, so you're naturally a bit wider, you're going to get penalized more than other players. You're getting penalized for your style. That's a joke. So they need to readdress it somehow. Back to Lee.
But back in the day when you was watching a game, if you was watching an offside and it was just like a millimetre, it's touch and go, you never really complained about it. The ones you complained about was the ones that were miles offside. Look, he's miles offside or he's onside. You know what I mean? The ones that were totally difficult, you just moved on from it. You didn't really worry about it. So I'm sorry to cut across you, James, but I'm with you.
No worries, mate.
No worries, mate. In terms of the predictions we made, I went with a 3-1. Jordan went with a 4-2. James, what did you go in?
A nervy 2-1. What a twat either.
And Lee went with a 3. No, it wasn't. What did you go with, Lee?
I said a comfortable 2-0 win, possibly 3.
Possibly don't work around here, so here's the table. Good try, though. Good try. We all get a point, people. So James and Lee remain at the top, 5 points apiece, while Jordan and myself are on.
Where is it like being at the bottom for so long?
Yeah, it's a good question.
Who are you asking?
Just want to say, just to mention this, right? Because I don't like to say something, but Jordan's kept his amazing run going. Like, I'm not actually predicting the score now. Like, we're into his second season now, and he's now getting on for a year without getting prediction right.
You know what I do,
there's got to be some sort of forfeit.
Jordan, you copy Lee every week, and then bring him down the table as well.
I was going to say, I might just do 2-0 every week now. The law of averages is I've got to get 1-2-0 in this season.
Well, you would have thought so, but it just doesn't seem to be working like that, does it? Like, you know what I mean?
Do you know what's brilliant? I can just imagine Jordan at home watching the game, just heading every ball with Kiefer Moore. Just go on, go on.
You know what? I wanted that fourth to go in, James, so I could then be like, all right, cool. I don't really mind if there's a late flurry from Bournemouth.
Pull your Bournemouth flag out. Come on, boys. Let's see the fight. And then you'll be on this podcast. I just want clean sheets.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm boring. I'm old school. I just want clean sheets.
Chatting absolute shit, yeah.
Behind the scenes.
Like, come on, Bournemouth.
Kiefer Moore.
Can I just flag Zinchenko, because I do want to give him credit. There was a run, or there's a bit of skill he did in the first 15 minutes. He did something, I think he span a player, and he just did something that was amazing. And like I said, I'm still not convinced he's the guy that we need. I'm still not convinced he's going to be the guy that you guys think he is. But I thought yesterday was very good. And finally,
I liked his performance yesterday. Sorry to cut across you. I liked his performance yesterday.
It was that touch,
touche.
Jordan, it was when the ball's over the top and there was someone running.
That's
and
right.
He just took a little touch, spun away from him.
Oh man, yeah, it was stupid. He keeps
the play going as well. And I don't mean this disrespectfully to Tierney or anybody else, because I think because Tierney's been out for a long while, I think that we can forget about how good a player he is. You know what I mean? So you just forget about it. But what I like about when we're controlling the game, Zinchenko is very, very much part of that, because the ball goes through him quite a lot. And I think we've always, even last season, even for our bounce, I think we've controlled games for long spells, and I think now we've got that killer scene. But he's a part of that. The back four starts off that. I think they're all comfortable on the ball. They're all ready, So it starts from there. But I have to say, I'm going to say, when is a player that's come in and signed for Arsenal and been that comfortable? It looks like he's actually been there for 4 or 5 years. He's just settled in so really well. That's a compliment to the guys, I suppose, and everything there. But he just seems to have settled in so well.
And I think James made a really good point earlier on about there will be. This is where I'm prepared to concede a lot of my skepticism around Zinchenko. There'll be certain games where Zinchenko is the right fullback to play. But there'll be other games where I think you need a Tierney, an up and downer. I think there'll be different games for different fullbacks in terms of our left back in particular. So I think he's definitely got value. But I want to finally mention Ramsdale, because there was a couple of times in the game where again he's getting involved and he's doing things he didn't need to do.
I'm with you.
The one where he kicked it and it came straight back. It came straight back to him, and he was complaining. That was completely his fault because he was trying to rush a kick. The guy didn't do anything wrong. I think he pushed the guy while he had the ball first. He was in his chest, fine. And he tried to get a quick release to, I think it was Gabriel Jesus, but it ended up being intercepted by a Bournemouth player. And then he was like, saying to the referee, the player did nothing wrong. That was him just trying to be too much too soon. And there was another one where a corner came in, where he came out for it, and he didn't need to come for it. And I think he missed it completely, and he was complaining to the referee again. I just thought, dude, we're 2/3-0 up. You don't need to be involved in doing stuff all the time. Today's just about for you keeping the clean sheet. We don't need you to be getting assists. We don't need you to be setting up attacks. We're 3 up. Control the game. And I just have that slight concern that he's trying to be involved at times when he doesn't need to be involved. Just itchy feet.
It's definitely there, the concern. Because of how well we started the season, I'm going to choose to ignore it because it hasn't cost us. But then, if one does cost us, then I'm going to, then these are all, there to be called.
The signs, aren't they?
And that's right. There's signs. Yeah. There's signs. It's coming, isn't it? You know what I mean? There's been warning signs. I'm with this on Jordan. I think at the end of the day, you're 3-0 up. you don't really want to be seen. You don't want to be talking about Ramsdale. I'm not being horrible.
No,
I love it.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But I don't want to be talking about him. You know, that's why you're a goalkeeper.
Did he make a save yesterday?
A header that was going wide.
Yeah,
I don't think he made a save yesterday.
Yeah, the header from.
Think, you know,
yeah,
but listen, his day's going to come at Old Trafford away or Man City away when he's going to. That's you know what I mean.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's being told that as well. Like, but you know, it's just you know. Also, I have to say, as good as it is and all that, it's still there's still things to work on, still things that still need to be done. So. And I like that, you know, and they can be addressed, and we go to the next game now. I do think that we'll be a little bit more open when we play at home. You know what I mean? That's what I like about when you go about preparation and things like that. I think come the next game, we might concede at home because there's a different way of playing it. Like, you know, we will be a little bit more expansive at home, you know. So I'm liking that. You know, got 2 home games now. I don't expect us to be making statements. But I expect us to be winning like 2-1s, 3-2s, 3-1s in the next couple of games.
Subs were good too.
I feel like we can make more statements, but we'll see how it goes. On Zinchenko, I know he had a few moments, but I think the best moment for me was his reaction to Saliba's goal, and we can touch on Saliba's goal as well because it was mad. It was mad. You know, he came off the back of an own goal last week. The fans getting behind his back. To the chance the fans were giving him at the game against Bournemouth. And you could see at the end of the game, him coming over, clapping the fans. I mentioned his contract before. I'm going to mention it again. I can't wait for him to sign a new contract. I know there's a few of our youngsters that need to, you know, renew and extend and whatnot.
He's the one.
For me, Saliba is now the one.
Saka and Saliba. I think Saka's signed, by the way.
Yeah?
Is that breaking news? Is that inside?
I don't really like to divulge.
There you go. Lee's broken the news, people. Fourever Arsenal exclusive.
Exclusive.
Lee, how long is he extended for? How much is he on?
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. Right. When Xhaka signed his new contract, yeah, he moved into a box. Yeah. Okay. Now Saka's family sit next to me, don't they? Like mum, dad, and brother, and they wasn't there in the last game. 3 seats were empty. Either on holiday, right, or they've been moved to a box. And if they've been moved to a box, that means he signed a new contract.
Where's the yellow ticker at the bottom of the screen? In the yellow breaking news ticker at the bottom of the screen.
Saka's family are watching this from the Bahamas with a cocktail. Thinking,
if they get there in the next game, they might be on holiday. But listen, I've seen Saka's brother at Chelsea. I've seen him a lot of away games. They go home and away. So I'd imagine that they'd have had their holidays not during the season.
Well, let's see. You might be right. Listen, the way Arteta was talking about it, and it sounded like he was putting a little bit of pressure on it, saying I want it sorted sooner rather than later, basically.
So we'll see. Like they'll probably be sitting next time I go to home game. They'll be sitting.
Yeah, they'll be looking at you.
Fantastic holiday in America. We decided to stay in Orlando for 6 weeks.
Go on, Turkish.
Sauces, ketchup, and HP.
I love that. Yeah. Well, don't let me down.
Ketchup sauces from Diamond Club.
I love it.
Breaking news. Thank you very
For
much.
those listening to this podcast audio, there's been Turkish has put a Sky Sports News strap at the bottom of the screen. Breaking news: Lee judges TV. Saka signs new deal at Arsenal.
Can we have something up there? Jordan addresses the comments. Can we have something like that? He doesn't really care, but he spends most of the day on the WhatsApp crew talking about it. I just want to. Can we put that down?
Next time we'll do that one.
Thank you.
Just a couple things. Saliba, brilliant. What a goal. There's something I'm loving about the Arsenal fans as well. You know, that sense of going away and conquering as a fan base, you know, being louder than the home crowd and all that. I very much felt that at Villa. We were both at the Villa game last season. Do you remember, Turkish? And Arsenal was singing, you know, non-stop. You know, the way where we are at Villa Park. You were right in the sun. And, everyone was having a bit of a party, having a great time. I felt like it was probably a similar thing at Bournemouth because all the comments were going on about the Saliba chant. Now, I might be wrong, okay? But very rarely do you actually hear, especially new chants, sort of come through, projected so clearly through a TV. And then the commentary, actually, when I was watching some of the highlights from different broadcasters, the commentators, when Saliba scored, I want to say it was Peter Drury, I think. Is that his name?
I think it was. Yeah.
He said, well, we're going to have to listen to his chant now for the rest of the game. In a kind of a jokey way. The Arsenal fans were just the whole time, and I love that. That don't underestimate how that empowers a team. A player like Saliba to
100%.
think, I'm going to curl that in with my left foot, because they've been singing his name for the last half hour. And I think just these little things from last week, the way everyone defended Saliba, as you mentioned, Turkish, and got behind the team, we conceded goals, to the Arsenal fans getting in their cars, getting on the train, or even flying in from abroad. People come from all over to watch the Arsenal. And being there and just sort of, we're conquering with you. Your performance is matched by our energy. And I think these little things are really important. And also, I just love that, that the Arsenal away support are just being talked about outside of just the Arsenal fan base. So that's, all these things are big.
I agree, James. And I'm agreeing with James a lot this podcast, actually.
Well, that's nice of you. I make some good points, to be fair.
You do every now and again. But I think you're right in terms of Saliba's a new player to the club in terms of being at the actual club. So for him to last week see the support that he got vocally in the stadium after scoring an own goal, and then hearing his name chart. I mean, some players have been at Arsenal for 5-10 years and don't get a song. He's gone after 3 games. So to hear that at Bournemouth, I think he will think, okay, this is the club for me. This fan base are with me in good times and bad times. This is a team and a fan base that I actually want to play for and want to do well for. I want to keep clean sheets for Arsenal fans. I want to score goal. I feel like I'm part of this. And at a very, very early age and a very young age for him, I agree with you. I think that's really, really important because there'll be times this season where he'll need us and we'll need him. Do you know what I mean? So I think to kind of establish that bond early and give him that confidence and belief, I think is very, very important.
I remember
also, which is a thing that which is not forgotten, shouldn't be forgotten, is that when he first signed for Arsenal, we played Watford away, and he was in the away end. Like going back, was that 3 years ago now, and he was actually in the away end. So I think he's a player that wants to get involved with everything as well. Like, do you know what I mean? And yeah, I think that's a great point you make. You don't make too many, Jordan, but that was a great point. Like three games in and they're singing a song about him, you know what I mean? That just shows you what standards that he set. Because I tell you what, since we were fortunate enough to see him in America, weren't we? We was blown away with him in America, you know what I mean? And then like a lot of fans hadn't seen him until Crystal Palace, and you know, like, this is going to be a big test for him. Crystal Palace away, breeze it. I want to say this, just a quick little point, you know, about Keith Lamore. A couple of seasons ago, he would have bullied our centre halves, made him all over. He's a decent player. I'm not saying he's not. Cope with him comfortably.
They tried to bully us, Lee. They tried to identify a physical aerial attack, and we wasn't having any of it. Again, preparation from Arteta.
Because we've got pace and power. There was one time in the first half that he brushed aside Gabriel, right, and then but Gabriel got up. Saliba come across, took it away. Like, you know, they're not intimidated by physical power or pace. Fantastic. When was the last time we seen that? Oh, Sol Campbell and Tony Adams and Martin Keown. It's great, isn't it?
Been a while.
Bloody great. We've got defenders, lads. We've got defenders that can defend.
Gabriel was very good as well.
Very good.
Yeah, he was.
They was all good yesterday. We've got defenders that can play, but they also can defend. That's what's great about it. Like, we've got defenders.
On the chance, I remember speaking to Ozil's agent, and one of the things he said was, you know, how the Ozil chant was, you know, the first time a fan base was chanting Ozil's name, you know, even though he was at Real and in Germany before, and that meant so much to him, and that helped him with his connection with the fans and whatnot. So it does go a long way in building a connection. And like I said earlier, signed a new contract, and things like this will help him do that. Feel at home and feel this is this is where he needs to develop and kick on a bit more. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get.
But you know what? The Arsenal fan base can get a lot of criticism from whether it's, you know, online stuff and the kind of YouTube and Twitter community, even to the Highbury Library and, you know, the Emirates is silent and all that. There's kind of always been this weird, in my opinion, forced criticism of the Arsenal fan base. But what I love so much, and I never doubted it, by the way, is that last season and the way it ended, I think the Arsenal fan base felt they had a part to play, because the atmosphere at the Emirates was great, as it was with away games. And you knew there was this young team, fresh team that we were getting behind. Used the word fresh a lot last season, Turkish, and I agree. Yeah. It's very easy after the way it ended. Remember, losing top 4 to Spurs. It'd be very easy to go into this season a little, I don't want to say deflated, just a little like, you know, maybe just you've lost a, you know, 1 or 2% of enthusiasm, but it feels like it's just gone up another level. It feels like it's cranked up. Maybe pre-season and those performances and the signings coming in have fueled that. But I just think either way, I think the Arsenal fan base were, you know, going to be right behind them and really just giving.
Do you know one thing about the Arsenal fan base, and I've got to give them credit for it. We got slapped, given a right kick in the old goolies at the end of last season. Really could have come back a little bit negative and whatever, but they haven't.
This is what I mean.
There's actually, like, even some of the fans of, you know, like, I'm over with now, like, you know, aren't you glad you never completely fell against Mikel Arteta, never went that complete way? It's great, isn't it? So I think the Arsenal fans have deserve a big praise. We've had a lot of stick over the last few years, and I think, like, that was tough last season. I don't care what anybody says. It was tough going into the summer, and we've kept faith, or majority of the fans have, and now reaping some of, like, the rewards. I know it's only 3 games gone, but I went to Palace, and I've obviously, like, went to the home game as well. The atmosphere at the moment is just electric. It's just such a buzz to go to the Arsenal. It's not just about the football. There's a real sense of fun about going to the Arsenal again, like, you know. And so credit to the fans, because they needed lifting, and maybe the signings have done it, but ultimately there's been a real energy with the fans.
Long may it continue. Long may it continue. 2 more wins before that Old Trafford, Manchester United, big one at the beginning of next month. So hopefully we can get that done. Other than that, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Coming up to an hour, people. Hope you guys have enjoyed out there. Hit the like button if you have. Hit the like button if you haven't. I don't care. Just hit the like button. Get it up there, people. And leave us your comments, thoughts, and all that.
Come on, get on with it, Turkish. I've got to get it out in that sun. Come on,
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. You've already been out in the sun. I know what time you wake up to get out there, mate.
Yeah, exactly. At the crack of dawn, by the way.
Ready to go, like, ready to
Look
go.
at him. He's ready. All right, we'll let you go, Lee. People, love for the love. Hit the like button on your way out. Comments, thoughts, predictions, all of that. We'll be back Wednesday, Thursday. Subscribe to the channel. Put the notification bell on, and you'll see us then to preview the next game against Fulham. Give you our predictions and whatnot. Love for the love, people. We are out. Peace.